So you want to learn how to drift in GTA 5 online without using any mods, do you? Well, you've tuned into the right channel, because on Black Sheep TV, this is what we do. Now, just a little heads up to you guys, if you are new to this channel or you are new to drifting on GTA 5 online in general, please, you're doing yourself a favor here. Go check out How to Drift for Beginners and try to get down that single gear drifting technique first. It might not be preferential to you, you might not like how it looks, you might think it looks stupid or it just looks like a burnout, but trust me, it's going to teach you inertia, body roll, counter steer, oversteer, all of the good fundamentals that you need to know when it comes to drifting, let alone drifting in this style of a game where it's so specific. So get the grip down in the vehicle, know what it feels like, and then come back to the video. There's a card that's going to pop up in the corner that'll lead you over to that series, and there's also links in the description. So, like I said, you guys here want to drift at high speeds. You know how to do the slow speed, the single gear drifting, and have a good time drifting in GTA 5 Online. There are some things you need to know if you are to this stage, however. This is not easy, and it is definitely not for beginners. So if you are just beginning, make sure you're getting down that single gear style. This is a two-part series here, guys. This is part 1 of 2, and we're going to stance the vehicle while I'm speaking to you here. So if you guys don't know how to stance vehicles, go check out the Does It Drift series, and we'll actually show you how to stance each vehicle. So really, this style, this fast-paced style, which is, you know, double clutching or clutch kicking or high-speed drifting, you're going to hear all of those terms. To be successful in doing this and linking a line, you're going to have to compile a bunch of different pieces together into one thing that you would then call the drift. That was the first thing, is the stance. You're going to need to stance the vehicle. Well, I guess that's actually the second thing. The first thing is your crucial build. You need to get the vehicle set up properly. You cannot have bulletproof tires. There are things that affect your performance that you would never think, and it's because you're glitching the vehicle, not modding the game. You're not modifying the glitching the already withstanding coding of the game to stance the vehicle, as we just did, and then you're combining that into the clutch kick. Now, what is the clutch kick or the double clutch? When you're just going in a straight line or using it in a racing sense, it's double clutch is the proper term. Look at us floating. This is the first crucial aspect that you're going to need to learn if you want to learn how to drift at high speeds. How do you do it? Now, your car, you need to listen to it. Really, really listen to it. This is where headphones come into play. Another big setting here is going to be having your camera, have it up high. Do not have it on low. Have it up high. You can see what it's doing. You don't want to be low at the bottom of the vehicle. You want to be up high, seeing your upcoming thing. Another utilization that you're going to be using is the right trigger. So if you don't use the right trigger to look what's coming, wow, that sounded like someone was literally in the party. That was them behind me talking. Anyways, you need to listen to that vehicle. You guys know what a vehicle sounds like when it shifts. Obviously, we shifted there. We shifted there. We shifted there. So we heard the shifts. Now, you notice that there was no burnout, right? Now, I held the trigger down all the way after the beginning. If you hold it down right in the beginning, you can burn out, obviously. But we just kind of held it half trigger. Once we get going, all the way down. There was no burnout at all, right? No type of burnout or speed boost at all there, right? Well, let's show you the speed boost. First gear, shifted. Second gear, about to shift. Right there. Right there. That's not just holding the trigger down. When you're rolling at that speed, get up to that speed, and put the trigger all the way down. Yeah, see, there's no possible way to do it unless you're using the speed boost glitch. How do you do it? Now, you really need to listen with me here and make sure you know what to do. Now, this is the technique, and the reason why I told you to definitely go check out How to Drift for Beginners is you need to know how your hand is going to be on this controller. So put your fingers on the controller normally, middle finger on that right trigger, and right pointer finger on the right bumper. And when you're driving, about to shift, now, obviously, I'm going to go really, really slow, but say you're about to shift into third gear. I'm going to let off the trigger. I'm going to tap on the handbrake, just a tap, literally a tap, and then right back to flooring down on the accelerator. Okay, one more time, let me explain it. You're driving, you shifted from first to second. Now you're in second, about to shift to third. Let off the trigger, tap the handbrake, and smash down on the trigger again.
Now you need to do it quick. Let off, smash, let off. Literally that fast, if not faster. And it needs to be at the proper speed too, guys. Now you're saying, what does this have to do with drifting? This is the first aspect. If you cannot do this, you will not be able to drift in high speeds. Plain and simple. Pulling a handbrake and power sliding is not drifting. That's not what we're doing here. So let's do this a few times and just show you the technique. Alright, so obviously you don't have to stop and go in this fashion where you're going literally. Listen to the car. Shifted, I'm in second. About to shift. Alright, now literally stop and restart it and go from point A again. Start from stop. Shifted, I'm in second. Right there. And it'll do it. So you should be able to do this at least 8 out of 10 attempts at doing this, if not 9 or 10 out of 10 attempts at doing this. Now this is a technical glitch, so it's like sometimes the game just doesn't want to give it to you, but it is a very, very consistent glitch. As long as you're consistent with it and you understand the timing, it'll be very consistent for you. With that said, let's move on to the second aspect as well. Now there's another thing that you're going to say, well, what the heck? This is just power sliding. I don't want to do this. This isn't anything to do with drifting. You need to know this aspect to be able to drift in high speeds. If you don't know this aspect, you won't be able to drift. Alright, it's called the Scandinavian flick. Now what it is let's find a decent corner to show us on. We'll just go over into that parking lot there into the right. We'll just come off of the straight line into the parking lot. So obviously we want to turn right into that parking lot. The Scandinavian flick, I'm going to show you in a very slow manner first, so we're not actually going to do the technique, we're just going to drive it out. If I'm going right, I'm actually going to throw the car left, and then throw it right. You might be like, well, what the heck why would you do that? Well, that's body momentum, inertia, just the whole weight of the car goes into the opposite angle that you're going, and it allows you to slide. Now you're going at the proper amount of speed to where the game allows you to then get into a drift. We're not doing that right now. We're literally going to do this. Just get up to into any speed. Any speed. Left. Now let off. Now I didn't hit any speed at all. As soon as I hit the Scandinavian flick, I just slid. No handbrake, no trigger, no nothing. Just the body momentum. And you should be able to do this, again, 8 out of 10 times, if not 9 or 10 times out of 10. You might be saying, no, you're definitely hitting the handbrake. I promise you I am not hitting the handbrake, and I will definitely be proving to all of you guys that in the second video where I show you the controller view. So drop that BS and start practicing so you can do this too. You're just wasting your own time believing that nonsense. To the left, and now right as I'm going to the right, I let off the trigger completely, and then I'm just steering. I'm fluttering the steering like this to keep it from spinning out. If I don't flutter the steering, this is what'll happen. Still on the trigger, letting off now. So spun out. That's what happens. Now you can throw it in a pretty aggressive angle because you're not hitting the trigger. You're not throwing in any speed. So get this down. You need to know both the clutch kick and the Scandinavian flick. You gotta really be going fast to flick without any speed. That's the thing. So really get up into like the third gear to do your flicks. Alright, now that's not drifting, so don't think that that power slide that we did back there is this high-speed drift. It's the Scandinavian flick is getting you into the body momentum where you're going to be able to incorporate some power down to the rear tires to make that a drift. But as of right now, whoa, I had to pull the handbrake there. We would have been smashing into stuff. All I want you guys to learn right now is those two techniques. Get them down, minimally. Do not move on from this point in the video unless you can do those two techniques 8, 9, or 10 times out of 10. Seriously, don't think I'm joking. You guys need to know how to do those two things to be successful in the next things. Don't just jump right into trying to drift. If you can't do those two things, you cannot drift. Straight up. In this technique. Now, if you are still watching up to this point in time, you obviously have clutch kicking down, where you can do it at least 80% out of the time or more. And you can also Scandinavian flick 8 or 9, 10 times out of 10. Now, I assume if you're to this point, you've already started trying to hit the trigger in your Scandinavian flicks, and I'll show you what that's looking like for you guys. What I mean by that is like you're instead of just completely letting off and sliding, you're also trying to hit the trigger again. So you're getting a lot of that bogging motion, am I right? That's just coming straight up from the car not being in that speed boost. So we now need to learn how to incorporate the Scandinavian flick and the speed boost, the clutch kick that we learned, together. We need to get those together. Now this is where it gets difficult, and this is going to come into a term that's used in Japan called chokadori. And chokadori is what we call in America like fishtailing or mongoosing. And by that, I do not mean this. To where I mean just get up to speed and do something like this. Although this does work, I'm surprised how flawlessly this worked right away, but this is not what I'm talking about, alright? Now what I'm talking about is this. Let me do an example for you guys so you actually understand. First, we're in second. I'm going to flick, engage it. Oh my goodness gracious! Thankfully the Schwartzer is kind of forgiving, so we're going to try to keep drifting. Hopefully we didn't completely total this thing out. Flick it. Hit it. Alright, there's too many dang barriers over here. Yeah, maybe this will be the better area to track. So chokadori is where you're actually in the drift technique, but you're drifting down a straight line. Missed it there. And we spun out. So now, if you think you're good because you got 80% down or more on those other two techniques, now try to get 80% more down in this technique where you're doing the straight line drift. If you want to really build up an analogy in your mind, you can view a snake run, kind of, where it's side to side to side, and you can do that. But there is no walls. You can mess up, you can go longer snakes, you can go shorter ones, but you need to be in the second gear. So let's show you how to do this, guys. And again, do not be at this part in the video trying to learn this part if you cannot do the past part. Seriously, you're only cutting yourself short. Don't be trying to put them all together if you can't do them individually. So how do you do this? Now the game is going to be very temperamental in this, and you will miss the clutch kick way more times than you would miss it just going straight because of this need. So Scandinavian flick, say I want to go right. I'm going to follow the contour of that line right there. So I'm turning right. That means I'm going to be flicking it over to the left. Yeah, go by me. Making a video here. So I'm going to be turning right. So I'm going to flick it over to the left, and then with the momentum, we're going to be going over the right. Now, obviously, we know what that's going to do. If we just do the Scandinavian flick there, it's going to fling us over to the right, where we want to go. But we want to also engage the clutch kick. We want to get that speed boost. We want to lay down some rubber with some power. So what we're going to do is when we flick over to the left, and we go over to the right to build that body momentum, when the car straightens out in this point, that's when you're engaging. So let me go a little bit quicker. Not actually do it, but show you a little bit quicker what I mean here. I'll just stay in the first gear. So you're going this way, left, going right now. And that's when you would do it. Right when the car straightens out. Because that's when the car likes to do it most efficiently, is when the car is facing straight and not super sideways. So if you're missing your clutch kick, it's due to one of two different reasons. A, that reason right there that we just spoke about, or B, you're not going at the right speed. Your RPMs aren't at the right RPM in the gear. You're either too low in second gear, or you're too low because you've shifted into third gear. And neither of those are good. You want to be actually in the right position of second gear. So let's do this thing. You're looking to be able to do 8 out of 10 on the chokadori before you're going to be able to move on to the track from this point. So let's do this. First gear, going into second, flicking it over. Now. Whoa, I had a lot of body momentum, so I spun myself out. Now. That was kind of sketchy, in all honesty. The hardest thing that you're going to notice is, especially in the Schwartzer, I think the Rapid GT is a little bit easier, is the car sometimes does not want to lower back down in RPMs. I'll show you what I mean. So you're in the second gear right now. Flick it. Now engage. Did you hear it right there? It went whoom. Those are my high budget sound effects right there, but I think it actually does explain for more people in their brain that have a little bit more animated personality. That probably does explain what I mean. It was so high in RPMs when I went around that corner that if I would have tried to engage my clutch kick, it would have just went right down into third gear. Man, this is going to be expensive for all the sound effects I'm using. And when you're in the third gear at the bottom, we just said you can't do it. It's not going to drift, so that's a problem. So how do you get the car to go down in RPMs then? That's another thing you have to add in? Yeah, it is, unfortunately. It's another thing, especially in the Chakadori, the fishtailing way here that we're doing. And the thing is when you go side to side, you need to be at enough of an angle to make the tires reset, to make the car actually reset a little bit down into the middle of second gear. Now, what you can do is just let off of both the trigger, or you can tap the handbrake a little bit, or you can use the left trigger. This is where style comes into play. What way do you do it? So let me show you an actual successful run then. I'm just going to try to focus and not say so much. Now, I didn't throw it at the craziest of angles because I was pacing that stupid truck in front of me. So let me do it one more time. Get off of my phone, Merriweather. That way I have Merriweather messing with us. So yeah, I'm kind of messing this technique up right now as well. I'm getting about 3 out of 4. So that's 75% is what I'm at right now. I need to get 4 out of 4 to be able to move on here. It's okay that I'm messing up though, because it's giving us all good examples of what the mess ups look like. This line is just such a tight little line that we're trying to run, so it's probably best off that you go down to the airport when you're trying this, guys, and just get on that nice wide open lane. This is a little bit, don't even try to cut me off here, car. Alright, so there we go, we got it. It's all about timing, guys. So the biggest thing that I was making a mistake is I would go into the flick, I'd clutch kick out, and then I would be clutch kicking at this point instead of at this point. Well, when your car is sliding due to body momentum, it's not going to clutch kick to go that way, the way that we're looking, when you're facing that way. It will, however, because you're facing straight and heading in that general direction with your body momentum, it will head off in that direction if you're facing straight. And I mean you're heading in that direction because you can see where all of the straightness is going. The center of your car still wants to be moving in the same general forward pendulum motion over there. So you should be able to get 4 out of 5, you know, 3 out of 4 up there. And since it was such a small line, I mean, you're still all right. But it's kind of frustrating to myself because I'm teaching you guys how to do it and I wasn't even completely on point yet. But this is going to be getting you to the point. However, this is the Chakadori setup. And basically you are drifting right now, believe it or not. You're just not connecting really large corners to put it into that drift. But everything that you're utilizing right there, connecting the clutch kick with the Scandinavian flick and doing it all at the right RPMs to make it work, you're now sliding at a high speed angle, applying a high amount of power to the rear tires, and you're consistently containing your vehicle in that skidding out motion. And that's what drifting is keeping it in that controlling it in the uncontrollable motion, really is honestly what drifting is. That wheel is taking so much, then there's the bounce. Alright, good example, guys. So you see how the car's flopping around and bouncing? That is going to be the end of your drift night in this vehicle. So you're going to have to go repair it and restance it and get yourself going. Seriously, you will have to with this technique or it's not going to be consistent for you. And you might get decent with it, but as soon as you get into a fresh car again, it's going to be completely different. Thankfully for us, we have already explained everything that we need to explain to get to the track. So let's just get to the track and we'll catch up there. Now, yes, I am going to say it again. You are not going to want to move on from this point in the video if you do not already have those techniques down, guys. 110% serious, no exaggeration. This is going to be next to impossible for you to do. It will be impossible for you to do in the right context, in the right way, in the right technique, if you cannot do what we have already done in this video.